Welcome to Real Estate Radio with Damon Gettier.
Welcome. We are live. Welcome to Real Estate Radio with Damon Gettier. I'm Bret Sharp. This is our very first radio show, our hour-long radio show, the inaugural. If you hear something that strikes a nerve and makes you interested, you want to list your home with Damon, go to listwithdamon.com, listwithdamon.com, or if you want to get cash offer on your home, go to listwithdamon.com. Damon Gettier, tell us a little bit about you for the listeners who are just tuning in for the first time. I'm sure they've heard your name in the market, but tell me a little bit about Damon Gettier and Associates Realtors powered by Real.
Wow. So August this year, I just crossed the 23-year mark of selling houses.
Dang.
And so,
Have we been working together that long?
Yeah, you don't feel that old until you start counting the years, and then it's like, wow, 2 decades plus selling houses, sold literally thousands upon thousands upon thousands of houses in this market. A market I love, care about, and enjoy working with. And so, yeah, I've been doing that for 23 years. Over the years, you and I, we connected sometime back probably before 2010, started doing business together, started doing radio with you, sold you your houses. Multiple houses, sold them for you, sold them to you, helping you with your investment properties. I mean, it's been a good relationship, and it's been a good ride. It's been like, I've been in this market when it was a boom market, when it was a bust market, when it was a super bust market, doing a boom market again, an okay market, a sliding market, an easing market, a buyer's market, a seller's market. I've been in all the markets. And so the one thing I would say, we can segue into that, is that, everybody in Roanoke's always worried about, I guess it's probably nationwide, what's going on in the market? When's a good time to buy? When's a good time to sell? And my answer virtually never changes. It's when you have the need. And the reason I say that is, from about 08 to 18, we didn't sell many houses to people that wanted to buy a house, because the market crashed in 08 and never really recovered till 19 in this area. And so, we sold houses to people, and it was 6 reasons. People got married, people got divorced, people had babies, people became empty nesters, you had job relocations and death. But those 6 things happen in every market. And it doesn't depend on interest rates. It doesn't depend on market fluctuations. It doesn't depend on market conditions. It just happens. Life happens. And when life happens in those situations, people buy and sell houses. And so the only thing that really changed in the last 15 years is when we finally got appreciation in this market. People started buying houses because they wanted to. But all the other reasons still happened. And so, when's a good time to list a house? When you want to sell one. When's a good time to buy a house? When you want to buy one. Educate yourself. Make sure that you do your homework and protect yourself when it comes to inspections and mortgages and all those things. But when you're ready to buy or sell a house, it's time to do it. If you feel it in your gut, it's time to do it. It's time to do it.
So the moral of this story is, don't wait for the interest rates to change. If you need to do it. Because, and I want to talk about just more into the introduction. I talk about you, and I've been talking about you on my radio show for years, as you said, for what, 15 years?
Probably 15 years. Maybe a little more.
You've been the #1 real estate agent for homes sold since 2013. I get this all the time. Damon probably can't. Damon only deals with high-end homes, right? My home isn't worth as much for him to even fool with. That's not the case, is it?
That is not the case. I tell people all the time, and please don't take it the wrong way, if someone wants to pay a commission to sell a doghouse, I'll sell a doghouse. I'll sell a single wide trailer, sell a double wide trailer. It does not matter. And likewise, we buy them. So we buy and sell anything. If it's affixed to land, if it is real estate, we will buy or sell it. It's, the only thing we can't sell is we can't sell single wide, double wide trailers that have not been converted to real estate. But if they've been converted to real estate, because when you buy
what does that mean? I don't even know what that means.
So when you buy a single wide, double wide trailer, manufactured home, it is a trailer. It is considered by DMV a vehicle until the title is surrendered to DMV and it's affixed to the land.
Ah, gotcha.
So once that happens, then we can sell it. Until that happens, we would have to have actually a car dealer license to sell it.
That's crazy.
Because it is a vehicle until the title's surrendered and it's affixed to the land. We can sell the land, we just can't sell the double wide or single wide on it until it's affixed. Once it's affixed that way, then we can sell it. And it doesn't matter to me. It's like everybody in this world, everybody in life is in a different position. And my job is to help those people transition to where they're trying to go, where they're trying to sell it, where they're trying to buy it. That's my job, is to help them transition.
So just as an example, so when I say the #1 real estate agent for homes sold since 2013, what would be like a lower range of the home and what would be the upper range of the home? What's the lowest price house you've listed or sold?
$4,000.
$4,000.
$4,000.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I won't get into specifics. So what about the high end?
Million plus.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So you'll literally do cabins to castles.
And I really do not care. You know me. It's not about I don't ever focus on the dollar volume. I focus on the units. Like I look at check boxes, okay? And a house sold as a check box, it's a win to me. Doesn't matter what the price is. A house sold as a check box. My goal is to fill as many check boxes in a year as I possibly can.
So tell me about, because I also talk about on my radio show that you're ranked top 25 in the nation with Real. What does that mean?
Well, Real, which is a national real estate company, which I'm a member of. I'm an agent with them. Their rankings, they put them out every quarter, and I'm the top 25 of all real estate teams in Real.
Meaning homes sold.
Meaning homes sold, yes. That's just units sold.
You have agents who work for you. Do you still sling homes? Do you sell homes?
I do some.
But you have agents who have sold a home every week for a year.
I've got 4 agents currently that have sold a house on average every single week for the last year.
That's amazing.
I've got one that's getting ready to. It's funny because we meet with the agents and we coach them and help them and teach them the industry and how to be more successful in their craft. And I have one that we were meeting with him last week, and he's on pace to hit 50 by the end of October. And so I was like, all right, readjust. Like now you're going for 60. And the reason is mentally people start to coast when they get near their goal. And he's not a coaster. I don't want him to be a coaster. And so he'll probably my guess is he'll hit 62, 65 houses this year.
Yeah, drinks set on coasters.
Exactly.
We don't want that kind of coaster.
We don't want a coaster. No.
So, I'm not trying to turn this into, a 15-minute commercial for Damon Gettier, but you list homes and you also buy homes. I've also talked about you buying homes in, I think that I recall Pulaski, Roanoke County, Roanoke City. When I say you buy homes, what does that mean? Cash offer on homes.
My goal in the real estate industry is to be the consumer's real estate decision. Like I am their solution. And it doesn't matter what they're looking for. If they're looking to list their house, we can list their house. If they're looking for someone to buy their house, we'll write a check and buy a house. If they're looking for an auction, we can handle an auction. If they want to rent out their house, we have property management. We'll property manage their house. Like if you have a house, if you have a property, we are your solution. Like it just depends which hat I need to put on to solve your issue to get you where you need to be, but I am your solution.
So how many agents do you have working for you right now?
About 20.
20 agents?
20 agents, yeah.
And what markets do you cover?
We cover, we say Central and Southwest Virginia. So anywhere from Appomattox, Amherst, Alta Vista, all south, all the way west. We cover Lexington, Stanton, Augusta, Greater Augusta, Harrisonburg, all the way to West Virginia, and then all the way south to about Abington. Cover Floyd, New River Valley, Pulaski, Giles. We buy a lot in Pulaski. Like on the Damon Buys Houses side, we buy a lot in Pulaski. It just seems to be a spot where there's a lot of opportunity.
Well, and when you buy a home, I know just from working with you for a long time, because Damon and I also own a business together called Sharp Radio, where we buy advertising for real estate agents outside of the market. But I know this from you. When you buy homes, it cuts out all of the showings and listings, and it cuts out the commissions, right?
It does. So when we buy houses, we're offering a solution to a problem, and it depends what the problem is. Sometimes the house is in disrepair. A lot of times the house is inherited and it hasn't been kept up for a while, and the heirs just need it dealt with. They just need it to go away. And we'll do,
or they're emotionally connected and they don't want to have to fool with it or whatever.
Correct. Right? Yeah. And there's all kinds of scenarios we go through. Sometimes that we help them with estate sales so they can sell everything in the house. We work with auction companies where they can sell everything in the house, and then we deal with the house. Sometimes they just want to hand the keys and walk away. They don't want to clean it out. They don't want to do anything. We've had houses that we spent weeks getting all of the possessions out of the house because whoever lived there might have been a hoarder or whatnot. And it's like, we're solution based.
Oh man, I bet you've seen it all too, haven't you?
We have. You see everything from the great to the not so great.
What's the grossest thing you've ever found in a house? Can you say?
We have purchased houses that people were deceased in that they didn't get found for a while.
Oh.
And that is a sad, unfortunate situation, because usually it's because there was no loved one near enough or cared enough
to check.
Yeah. We see a lot with dog feces. There's one that my partner Jay, he went and looked at yesterday, that in the basement there were, I don't know, I can't even give a number. 300, 500, 1,000 piles of dog food down there.
My gosh.
You see a lot of that.
You make Jay deal with that stuff though, right?
Yeah, that's a Jay thing. That's a Jay thing. Sometimes I send Christina, my videographer, there too. I'm like, yeah, you'll enjoy this. It is what it is. And you don't judge people because you don't know what's going on in their life. Yeah. Like not maybe a decision I would make, but I haven't walked in their shoes and done what they've done. So
what about the coolest thing or the most expensive thing you've ever found? Like when you busted out a wall, did you ever find a dozen Kruger ends or a pile of cash or anything?
There was this one house that some people rumored it was Russian Mafia in, but when we tore out the walls, it was filled with gold. No, Brett, we don't ever get that stuff. That's only seen on TV. No.
I was starting to get excited.
No, that's only seen on TV. No, we've never run into anything ultra cool or something like that. But I mean, if we found something like that, we would. I'm a firm believer in treat somebody like you want to be treated. Karma. So like karma's real, and it comes around, and sometimes you're there to see it, and sometimes you're not. And so if we found something of value like that, and we would just call the people up and say, hey, did you know this was here, and give it to them, because it's the right thing to do, and I don't want that karma coming back around and smacking me.
No doubt. Well, I wanted to get just a little background on you for the first segment, because we're going to talk about real estate, and we're going to talk about stuff that hopefully you'll, as a listener, you'll be interested in. I mean, things like tips, tricks, and hacks for selling your home, what you prepare for when you're getting ready to sell. We've got listener questions that we can answer. So if you want to reach out to Damon Gettier and his crew, go to listwithdamon.com. That's listwithdamon.com. Coming up in the next segment, we'll talk about some tips, tricks, and hacks for selling your home.
Welcome to Real Estate Radio with Damon Gettier.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio with Damon Gettier. Again, if you want to reach Damon, go to listwithdamon.com, and you're all over social too right now, right?
Yes, sir.
Where?
Yes, sir. Oh my God. I'm on everything. Like I'm on the Twitter or the X, Instagram, YouTube. I've been shooting a lot of YouTube lately. Facebook.
What, just go Damon Gettier?
Yeah, just go Damon Gettier. Like
Gettier, by the way.
If you follow me, and I invite everybody to follow me to find out who I really am. Like first and foremost, like I sell houses. I identify as two things, I guess. A realtor and a dad. Like I sell houses and I'm a dad. And I try to focus as much time on being a dad as I do real estate.
Yeah, let's talk about your family real quick. And we do want to get into tips, tricks, and hacks for selling your home. But tell me about the boys. Tell everybody about Allie. Tell me about your family, because I know you are a family man.
I am. So, I mean, let me back up just a little further. 2008 and all that time, when the crash happened, I worked 14, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. And like I shedded relationships like it was my job because I was working too much. And, once I met Allie and started running the business more like a business, I realized that if I kept doing that, I was going to turn through another relationship. So that kind of changed. So I kind of settled down on the business side and worked the business like a business and, started spending more time with the family. And so Allie and I have two boys. It's Keegan and DJ. It's kind of like freaking frat. They're the best of friends and the worst of enemies,
Super sweet kids too.
Yeah, well, they are. And they're both, it's kind of weird because Keegan's 5 years older than DJ, but they weigh the same amount. And DJ thinks he's the same age as Keegan, even though he's 7 and Keegan's 12. Both play football. I coach Keegan in football. We're having a wonderfully bad year. We're like,
it's all right, he's playing. That's
we're 1-3. I will say we've played some really good teams. We're not good. We're not great, but the other teams are good. So it's a bad combo.
That's all right. But they're getting to play.
They're getting to play. They're having fun, learning fundamentals, whatnot. And we hunt and fish, and we have a small farm out in Montvale. We go out, Manita, we go out to about every weekend. We camp. So if I'm not working, I'm with the family.
Yeah, and I will attest to that. During the weekends, it's very difficult to get a hold of Damon Gettier because he's like, this is my time. This is family time. And I respect that. I appreciate that.
But if anybody wants to call to buy or sell a home, we have systems in place. We have someone to answer the phone, a live human being with a real estate license to answer the phone 16 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And let's talk about just real quick. So you and Allie had DJ. So Keegan was here. Mm-hmm. You had DJ. What does DJ stand for?
It's Damon Jr. Yep.
Damon Jr. And why name your son after you?
So this is what I told his mom, and he now knows. Like, look, if you stay in Roanoke, I've started your path. Company's named after you. I've started your path. If you're a jerk, when you become a teenager, I'm changing your name. Like, you're not going to become an adult with that name if you're going to mess it up. And so I just named it that so that that if he stays here in this market, that, he's at least started down his path.
I know you've been in this market forever. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Lynchburg.
In Lynchburg.
But I was born in Lynchburg, but I didn't grow up in Lynchburg. So I was born in Lynchburg. Let's see if I can do this really quick. Born in Lynchburg, lived there till I was probably 3 or 4. Then I moved to Newport News, lived there for about a year. Moved to Hampton, lived there for a year or 2. Moved to Smithfield, and I can't remember, 2 or 3 years there, 2 years maybe there. Moved to Carrollton, lived there a year or 2. Then moved to Smithfield. Moved from Smithfield to Louisa. Then from Louisa to Craigsville, which is outside Stanton, which is Deliverance. So Craigsville is Deliverance, Virginia.
Okay.
It really is. It really was then. And I've heard it hadn't changed much since then. Then from there, went to the Army. Went out to Fort Riley.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir. Went out to Fort Riley, Kansas, and developed a love for Kansas. So when I go hunting, we usually go out to Kansas because I just love that place. From Kansas, moved back to Craigsville. Was a prison guard for a couple of years. Realized that wasn't the lifestyle I wanted to live. Coming out of the military, going to work at a prison is not a good idea because the military's black and white, and prison system, judicial system, whatever you want to call it, in Virginia is 50 shades of gray. Not really rules followed, just keep them inside the fence, and that's just not good when you come straight out of the military. Went from that to selling insurance, life insurance, and realized early on that when you're 22 years old, it's hard to tell 50-year-olds about life, you know?
Yeah.
It just is. And went from that to, what I did? Went from that to selling cars. Went from cars to selling copiers. Went from copiers to working at Circuit City. And working at Circuit City, was doing really well there. And then February 5th, 2003, we all come to work and the doors are chained. And we're like, weird. They call us in one by one and they read from the script and laid us off. And I'd had a real estate license for about 8 months. Hadn't been able to do anything with it because what do you do? I mean, I was working full time. It's just hard to do it part-time. And I walked out the door. I'm like, wow, I'm a real estate agent. Owens & Company at the time. They were a large regional. They were the largest regional at the time. They had 5 offices, about 300 agents. And Steve Turner was the manager. And Steve, if you're listening, love you. Taught me a lot. And I went to him and I said, all right, I'm full-time real estate agent, got laid off. I'm like, where do I get business? And he said, well, call your family and friends. I'm like, well, I don't have any family and all my friends just got laid off. And legit, you remember phone books?
Yeah.
So he tossed me a phone book and he said, start calling. And I literally had a cubicle. Most fortunate thing in my real estate career is I had a cubicle that was like 3 cubicles outside his office. And he was a sales manager for a large real estate company. And started in the A's and would be like, hi, my name's Damon Gettier. I'm with Owens & Company Realtors. Do you know anybody has a house they want to buy or sell? And literally called through all the A's. And I did not sell a house. I swear I did not sell a house till I got to the B's. And there are a lot of A's in the phone book. But what that did for me is sitting outside his door, I heard every problem. That office probably had, I'm going to say, maybe 100, 120 agents.
Oh, wow.
I heard every problem that walked in that door.
Yeah.
And I heard the answer to it. I learned really well through osmosis. So like listening and observing and like you learn what's going on. So I heard that. And in the meantime, there's a lot of agents there. So back then you didn't have leads, you didn't have Zillow, you didn't have Realtor.com, you didn't have CRMs really. You didn't have anything. So people had phones and Post-it notes.
Yeah.
And back then a consumer would call you and leave a message on your answering machine and wouldn't expect a call back for a day because people didn't really have cell phones and instant
right.
And so agents that were too busy would just drop Post-it notes on my desk and say, here, call these people, and if you get something, give me a referral. And I ended up being Rookie of the Year that year. Sold 26 houses just grinding.
Wow.
Just grinding. And what it taught me is that if you work harder than anybody else, for the most part, there's some people that can't. I've met a couple people in my life that can't, but for the most part, if you grind harder than anybody else, you will win. You can't outgrind people.
That's why you're the number one agent, because you grind.
Well, I mean, it's funny.
You work hard for people.
I met one of the guys from Roanoke Water Authority the other day. We were outside. I was getting my coaching badge for coaching for Roanoke County, and I met him outside the rec center. And he was walking in, and he stopped me. And he said, I remember when you used to drive that little brown Toyota truck, and it wasn't nice. It wasn't nice.
I had a little black one.
It's what I had. Yeah. It's what I had.
That little half-ton, like a monkey riding a football.
Yeah, I'm a big guy, and there's a little truck, you know. But I mean, he said, I remember that, and he said, you're just one of the ones that has done well. He said, it's just you ground it out. And that's just, that's what I try to teach my kids. People can be smarter, people can be better looking, but you decide whether they outwork you or not.
Well, and the reason I asked you that just from the beginning, where you were born and raised, is because just from working with you for so long, I know that, and I don't know if you have any clients right now, but you're a coach for real estate agents in far bigger markets than Roanoke, Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
But yet you stick here in in Roanoke.
Yep.
So why is that? Why do you stay here? Why don't you go to, I mean, we've worked with agents in Denver. You've coached agents in some of the biggest markets in the nation,
right,
but you stay here.
Well, the reason I stay here is for the kids. So I moved.
I know you did, but I mean, since you've been in real estate.
Well, initially it was because it's where the market was and everything. And I love Roanoke. I love the valley. I love the mountains. I love that. But once I established the family, so I started coaching after the family came, and, I've got people in Denver and Washington State and California, New York, whatever. And those price ranges there are just
huge. You sell a $2 million home with like nothing.
Right.
That's a $400,000 home here.
Like, Mike Novak, he's a buddy of mine. You've talked to him before. Like, we talk all the time. Like, I have to sell 3-4 houses to equal one of his.
Cost of living is higher.
Cost of living is higher, but it's not that much higher for the difference in the spread of the income. But the difference is, going back to me, when I grew up, I learned not to make friends. I learned that if I made a friend in school, I was losing them. So I stopped I don't have lifelong friends from back in the day. And I was determined that once I had kids, that I was, you're not a lifelong friend, you're a long-time friend.
Okay,
There's a difference.
Okay. I'm here. That's outside voice. I can hear you.
Yeah. So no, but I have zero friends from childhood, zero. And I was determined. And Allie, my wife, who grew up in Salem, she's like, it's like Mayberry story. Like her parents still live in the house she was born in.
Oh wow.
And so she has all of these friends. Like I hate going to a restaurant with her because I can't make it from the door to the table without stopping 5 times for somebody she knew.
Yeah.
But I wanted my kids to have that because there is value in having friends that you grow up with. And so, that's why I stayed. Once I realized that there was a world outside Roanoke for real estate, that's why I stayed, is because I want my kids to grow up with the friends in their community.
Well, I'm glad you're here, and your plan is to stay here for at least until they graduate and move on, or is this it?
This is it. We bought a little farm out in Manita. We're here.
You're here.
We're here.
Is that the new farm that I haven't been out to yet?
You were invited, and I showed you pictures of the bass. So that's all I got to say.
And there are truly big bass on that? Because the last one we went to had a great time, caught a lot of fish, but their bass were like this. The pictures I saw were bass like this.
The bass were huge. And I'll tell you, so I had the record there at 4.54 pounds. And then Keegan's little friend Gino came fishing. And Gino, if you ever hear this, I love you, but I'm still mad at you. He took my pole, cast it out one time with a whopper plopper.
Yeah.
Okay. Who I learned about the whopper plopper from Bret.
You're welcome.
Through the whopper plopper, and he caught a 4.89 pound bass.
Wow.
And then he refused to hold it. I said, oh, no. You're holding that bass. But he didn't have anything to rate it by because he'd never caught a fish before.
Yeah.
But it was 4.89. So
That's
there's
amazing.
some big bass in the pond.
All right, I'll be there this weekend. If you want to reach Damon Gettier and his crew, go to listwithdamon.com. That's listwithdamon.com. We'll be right back, I promise, with some tips, tricks, and hacks in selling your home. Hang on.
Welcome to Real Estate Radio with Damon Gettier.
Welcome to Real Estate Radio with Damon Gettier. If you want to reach Damon and his team, you can go to listwithdamon.com. That's listwithdamon.com. So we've talked about you. We've talked about your business. We've talked about your life, your family. Let's talk a little bit about real estate. So just getting into the brass tacks of things, tips, tricks, and hacks in selling your home. You know them all, don't you?
I know a lot. I won't say all, but I know many.
So tell me about just the market right now. Are we in a soft market? Is it an easy market? Is it a hard market to sell in? Where are we?
So we are still in the seller's market. And let me help with the definition. The real estate industry defines a seller's market as less than 6 months of inventory on the market. A balanced market is 6 months on the market, and a buyer's market is more than 6 months inventory on the market.
Meaning when you list your home is on the market for 6 months or longer.
Correct.
Yeah, gotcha.
Correct. Yep.
So, and what market are we?
We're in a seller's market still.
Okay, so the homes are selling in less than 6 months.
Correct.
Typically.
On average, they are.
Okay.
You always have ones that real estate's all about location, condition, and price. And you always have ones that are in bad condition that don't sell. You always have ones that are overpriced that don't sell. And you always have ones that are in bad locations and don't sell. But as long as you line up the location, condition, and price, if those are in line, then they're selling in less than 6 months right now.
All right, then let me ask you this. I want to upgrade and I want to sell my home since we're kind of still at the kind of top-ish of the market. Mm-hmm. And I want to buy a bigger home, a nicer home, a more expensive home. What kind of market is it for that?
You're still in a seller's market.
Okay, so it's good. Okay, what if I have a really expensive home and I want to downsize, I'm retiring and I want to move into a smaller home. Is it a good market for that?
Yes.
Okay.
So everything has a caveat to it. So when you say really expensive, how expensive is really expensive?
I don't know, $1 million.
$1 million. So $1 million's going to take longer to sell than a 400,000. And it's simply because there's less buyers. You know, in this market, in the Roanoke Valley, our average price is still in the mid 300s, you know. And I was actually interviewed by WSLS last week, and it's funny, 8-minute interview gets chopped up into 20 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
But, and they stated on there, the average sales price is 440,000. It's not. That's the median. And median and average are two different things.
No
average
doubt.
sale price is mid threes.
Yeah.
If it was really 440, that would be a problem here because we don't have the income in the valley to support that. The average sales price is in the 330s. And so if you have $1 million house, it's going to take longer to sell because there's less buyers for it. There are buyers. There's just less buyers for $1 million property than there are for a $300,000 property.
We always tout that you sell homes faster and for more money. Part of that are your own tips, tricks, and hacks. And one thing that I've talked about on my radio show for a long time, I think this still holds true, but you spend more on marketing, way more on marketing than the average real estate agent, right?
Yeah, I would virtually guarantee that I spend more money on marketing than anyone in this market. Anyone. I would almost guarantee, and I'd have to like sit down and look at a list and think about it, but I almost would say I spend more money than any company does. And it's simply because I don't look at myself, I'm a real estate agent, I have a real estate license. I don't position myself as that. I position myself as I'm a marketing company with a real estate license. So I specialize in marketing properties, and that works to the buyer's benefit, it works to the seller's benefit. You know, we sell a lot of properties off market. We represent a lot of buyers that buy houses that never hit the market because we can find the houses before they hit the market.
But when you say that, and you just said the key, and that was what I wanted to get to, you're not marketing you're marketing homes. The reason you're marketing is because you want to, if I list with you, you want to make sure that marketing gets out. I see when I'm on Instagram, I see your stuff come across my Instagram all the time going, you know, this home just sold, this home just went up, this home just sold. That's the kind of marketing to make sure that your listers and buyers are getting marketed, right?
Correct. And it's funny, people get annoyed by it. Sometimes we get some bad comments, whatnot.
What people?
But people on the internet. And the reason is this.
Oh, get annoyed by those?
By the ads.
Oh, I got you.
The properties.
I like to see that. I want to see what's on the market. I'm not even on the market to buy, and I want to see it.
But you got to understand, some people wake up in the morning wanting to be upset, you know? And so it's one of those things. So we pay for technology, okay? That if you talk about buying a house, if you talk about, hey, should we sell our house, or what is your house worth? Like, we pay for the technology. Everybody knows Alexa's listening. Everybody knows your phone's listening, okay? We pay for the data layers to market to the people who are saying stuff indicated buying or selling motivation. We're buying those data layers so that we can market to those people.
So if I say to my wife, honey, tonight I think I want to watch Home Alone, bam, there's Damon Gettier.
If you say I wanted to buy Home Alone, maybe. If I wanted to sell Home Alone, maybe. And it's funny because we all know it does it. And then some people think it's a rumor or it's a myth. No, it's real. We have data layers. Like if you walk into Lowe's, walk into Home Depot, what do I know? If you walk into Home Depot or Lowe's, I know you're a homeowner. I know you are. The odds of you being a renter and walking into Home Depot or Lowe's are very, very minimal.
Yeah, right.
Okay? And so we know your phone went in with you. So we know. And when I say we.
This is very transparent, man. You're really pulling the curtain back.
Well, I'm just saying, when I say we, it's not me. They don't send me a list and have 18 names on there and say these 18 people walked in. We buy the data layer. So the software we use identifies these people. They don't give names and addresses or anything like that. It's an IP address. And then we serve ads on whatever social those people go on so that we're exposing your home. So if you list your home with us, that's what our goal is to get your home in front of as many people as possible. And we're not going to rely on them going to find it. I don't want them having to go to my website or Realtor.com or Zillow to find the house. I want to put it in front of their face. Where am I going to put it? Where do they spend their time? If you look at a phone, most people spend more than 4 hours a day on their phone. And so I'm going to serve those ads up in front of them where they are.
You also do radio. I mean, you've been on my show for 15 years, almost, going on 2 decades, but also just to get the word out that, you've got homes to sell. You're in the market to buy homes. And speaking of buying homes, cash offers on your homes, what's the least and most amount you'll spend on homes? Or is it just open-ended?
It's open-ended. It just depends. It depends on the situation. And I will say this, paying cash for homes, everybody does need to understand that that is a for-profit business. If your house is worth $400 and you want a cash offer for $400, that doesn't make any sense.
Like
No, it doesn't. I have to buy it, fix it, and then sell it. And I would tell you that the average...
And make a profit.
But I would tell you the average we spend on a house fixing it is north of $50,000.
Yeah.
Our was talking.
I believe that.
I was talking to another guy in the market that is doing it far longer than I have. His name's Barry, and Barry's like, I can't touch a house for less than $50,000. It's just the cost of everything's gone so much, and by the time you paint it, put a roof in, put an HVAC, update the kitchen, update the bathroom, you're $80,000.
Yeah.
When someone's buying a house that's been quote unquote flipped, they expect it to be nice. They don't expect you to buy a house, vacuum it, sweep it, and put it back on the market. They want it. They want some of the niceties to it, and it's it's going to cost money.
So I don't really know how you market that. I've seen those We Buy Homes and all this kind of stuff, and I'll get stuff in the mail every now and then. But I feel like if somebody, I would hope that you're top of mind when somebody wants to get a cash offer on their home, that you're already there because you're going to give them a fair offer, aren't you?
We are, and it's something we ought to do a whole segment down the road about the difference between a cash buyer and a wholesaler also.
Yeah, I want to get into that at some point
because we
can spend a whole show on that.
We could spend 2 or 3 shows on it. I will tell everybody this: if you're going to sell your house for cash to somebody and they don't have a definite closing date on it, like we are closing on it this date, if your contract's more than, let me give some grace here and say 2 pages, then you have what's called a wholesaler, and they're not buying your house. Their sole objective is to put your house under contract, lock it up, and then find a buyer for it that they're going to sell it to. They have no intention of closing on it. And the problem I see with that is it really and truly damages the consumer. And the reason it damages the consumer is once you write that contract on the house, you can't do anything with it. It's legally yours, but they have a right to the title, which means you cannot sell it to anybody else until that contract goes away. And we see a lot of people that have a house going towards foreclosure that you get a wholesaler tie it up. And I could buy it. I could buy it, stop the foreclosure. And I cannot because they have it under contract. They're trying to sell the contract, and they will carry that contract all the way to closing or all the way to foreclosure. And it's just unfortunate. So I would say if there's several companies out here that do what I do, buying houses, and I would tell you, find somebody, if they're going to buy a house, it needs to be less than a two-page contract. Anything more than that, and it's just listing all the ways they can get out of the contract. Ours is 1 page, and it needs to have a definite closing date. Like, we are closing on this date, period. And that period is subject to having clean title. Like, it can't have judgments or anybody else has a claim to the title. But as long as it's got clean title, we can close on it in 3 weeks probably.
So the difference between a cash buyer and Damon Gettier is what?
Between a cash buyer and Damon Gettier?
Yeah.
Same thing.
No, I'm just saying because I know I've said before on the radio that
it's a wholesaler. So
no, I know the wholesaler, but
yeah,
the difference is when you buy with cash, you close.
I close.
When some of those people buy with cash, may or may not close. That was my point.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. You're coming to a cash buyer for a solution to a problem, and you don't want to come to somebody for a solution to a problem for them to hand the problem back to you in 60 days.
Yeah.
When you write an offer write a contract with us, we're closing on the house. 2 things we're doing. And let me clarify this because we had somebody the other day ask us a very good question because they went on the internet, rightfully so, and found out some information that said that a lot of flippers will do a home inspection and beat them up. And so every single house we buy, doesn't matter. Every single house we buy, every client we represent, always recommend everybody get a home inspection. We do the same thing. We put a house under contract to buy. 2 things it's subject to clean title, meaning you have to have the ability to sell it as the owner. Okay. Clean title, we're good. We do a home inspection. All we're looking for is surprises. Okay. All we're looking for, and what are we looking for surprises? Stuff we didn't know you didn't tell us. Structural issues, mold.
It's illegal, isn't it? That has to be disclosed.
No, it doesn't. So the owner doesn't have to disclose it. They cannot conceal it. So it's illegal for them to conceal it. They don't have to disclose it. Okay. We're in a Virginia is a disclaimer state. So I can disclaim. I can say, I'm not telling you anything. I don't know anything. I'm not hiding anything. Doesn't mean we have to disclose. And so I'm looking for uh-ohs, like a house broken into. It happens. Mold, mildew. You told me the HVAC's good and the HVAC's bad. Because HVAC now, a cheap HVAC now is $8,000.
Oh, yeah.
Like 4 years ago, it was $4,000. It's gone out of the world. Roof is rotted. Stuff that I can't see from the outside is all I'm looking for. If it's cosmetic, I know I'm going to spend $50,000, $80,000 on your house. I know that. Floors need to be redone. Windows got to be replaced. I knew that. I saw that. Not an issue.
So if you question if you're dealing with a wholesaler or an actual cash buyer, if you have questions, they can email you, right?
Yeah, they can email. They can call in. We'll tell them. We have good rapport with them. And if they're legit, I'll tell you they're legit.
There you go.
Well,
you can reach out to Damon at listwithdamon.com. That's listwithdamon.com.
Welcome to Real Estate Radio with Damon Gettier.
And welcome back. This is the Real Estate Radio Show with Damon Gettier. It's our first one. How do you feel like it's going so far?
I think it's going pretty well. I think we're a little scattered, but I think we'll get it together.
That's okay. Well, for one, we just wanted to learn about you. We wanted our listeners to know about you a little bit, but also about what makes you tick and what makes them tick. And one thing I know that has really connected with our listeners and with the people who list homes with you is the 14-day guarantee. I don't recall anyone in this market ever doing any kind of guarantee like that. Explain the 14-day guarantee, would you?
14-day guarantee. So originally it was 59-day guarantee, and that was back
I remember
when,
that. Yeah.
That was back when houses were taken. The average house in the market was a relist, which means you listed it for 6 months, it expired, and you listed it with the same agent or a new agent a second time before it sold. And because we do have a marketing machine, like, it sounds bad to say it out loud, but we do have a marketing machine. Like, we do have a system.
Bad?
I mean, it sounds a little arrogant, but I mean, it's not me. It's like the people I've surrounded myself with. Like, I have a marketing team. Like, we have a full-time videographer. She's in here right now with the camera videoing me. We have a full-time videographer. We have 2 or 3 full-time video editors. We have I don't even know what you call Clarice. She's the marketing brains behind everything. She puts everything together. That it's just hard for an independent individual agent to have all those pieces together that we have. And it's taken a while. It's taken a long time to put the team together, but the team we have now just works well. And so because we market like we market, we are able to expose the house to the market in a way that others can't. And it's not that they don't want to, they just can't. And then we get more eyes on the property, and we generally, on average, we sell our houses faster and for more money. And so as the market changed, so did our days on market change, because right now, if you guarantee 59 days on the market, you'd be like, what are you doing? Because average days is less than 59 days in the market. And so, you and I, we've always watched the market and tried to stay true and stay competitive. And, 14 days, I feel confident, we plug any house into our marketing machine that we can have it under contract in 14 days.
For more money.
For more money, yeah.
And if you don't, what are the consequences to you?
Sell it for free.
No commission to you.
No commission.
That's a pretty healthy guarantee, man. I mean, 2 weeks. You have confidence in your team.
I have confidence in my team. I have surrounded myself with people as good or better than me.
And I also know, speaking of your team, you work with a lot of different people. You work with a lot of different appraisers and inspectors. And I know inspections are a big deal with DGA.
Yeah, they are. It's important. And we had this discussion in a team meeting this week, actually. And so during COVID, if you remember, like, people were waiving inspections because we had as many as 25 offers on a house, and people would do escalation clauses where they go above list price. They would waive this and waive that. They'd waive appraisal. They'd waive inspections, and
anything just to get the house.
Yeah, just get the house. Yeah. And unfortunately, like, it seems every single one that waived inspection that got the house got the problem. And I'm pretty stern about this now. Like, if the seller's not going to accept your contract because you want an inspection, don't buy the house. You wouldn't spend $200,000 on a car and not take it to your mechanic.
Yeah.
And so the inspection's not perfect. They're not going to catch everything, but your inspector should. There's a couple of drop deads on inspections, and the industry's changed a lot on the inspection side, and I try to change with it, and I can't. I'm having to change back to where it used to be. Like a home inspector, a couple of drop deads for a home inspector. If a home inspector doesn't walk a roof, okay, there are some roofs that aren't walkable. Some are too steep. Some of them have slate. You don't want them walking on a slate roof. Some of them, pretty much is it. Too steep, slate, or too high. Some of them are really high, and that's just getting into liability. Outside of that, a home inspector needs to walk a roof. And because all of them have drones, and like, congratulations, you have a drone. Number one, most of them have a license to fly that drone. That's a whole nother segment. If you're going to do it for money, you have to have a license.
Yeah.
And they don't. Anyway, you're inspecting a roof that you can't really see nail pops with a drone. You can't really and truly check the caulking with a drone. You can't really look at mortar joints with a drone. You definitely cannot.
Flashing, the real close to look at the flashing.
Yeah, you had experience with that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
So the other thing is, you can't feel rotten boards. If you're not walking a roof, you can't find soft spots.
Yeah.
And so, that's a drop dead for me. Like, if you can't walk the roof, if you're not going to walk the roof, if you're too old, too crippled, too feeble, then you shouldn't be a home inspector. That's just a fact of life. Likewise, if you're not going to crawl under a house. Now, there's some houses that are uncrawlable, but they're very few and far between. A lot of the home inspectors now have gone to little doom buggies, whatever, with cameras that they go under them. Well, you put one pipe, the crawl space, you put one duct across the crawl space, or one too low, and all of a sudden now they can't access it. And too many recent stories of home inspectors that sent, RC cars with cameras under houses, not finding massive problems. I have too many stories of home inspectors not walking roof, not finding problems. problems to allow for that. So, do your due diligence. If you're going to buy a house, have a home inspector come out, ask your home inspector questions like, do you walk the roof? Do you crawl under the house? Like, do you physically go into the house? And if the answer is no to either one of those, find another one. There's more out there.
What if I don't know of a home inspector and I come to Damon Gettier and go, hey man, I found you at listwithdamon.com, but I don't have an inspector?
We'll help you find an inspector. And I'll tell you this, home inspector's job is not to write a home inspection in regard to a real estate contract. Like, they should write their home inspection irregardless of. Some home inspectors say, all right, I'm only inspecting the things that the real estate contract cover. Well, I didn't pay you, I didn't hire you to do an inspection of what you think my contract that you have not seen says.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
I paid you to do an inspection. Like, I want to know the condition of the house. Whether it's something that is pertinent to the contract or not, I want to know if there's a problem. I want to know if it's something I need to address. Because there's a lot of things, so the contract does not address things that were code when they were done, but are no longer code. Well, if it's wrong, GFCIs. If you have a very old house, GFCIs weren't even an issue.
Yeah, right.
Now GFCIs code. Well, if you're one of these home inspectors that says, well, it wasn't code when it was put in, when it was built, so I'm not going to put it in there. Well, I kind of like my wife and kids, and, should someone drop a hairdryer in the tub, I'd kind of like them to live.
Yeah.
So I want to know that even though it's not relevant to the contract, when I buy the house, I might elect to put ground faults in to protect my family. And plenty of examples of things like that. You need to have an inspection of the house. That being said, some of these inspections are really detailed. You want one really detailed, or do you not want one? I want one really detailed. And then you need to rely on your agent to interpret that. Like, take this inspection now in regards to this contract. What can I ask for? What can I not ask for? Okay. And it's not a shopping list. It's not like, oh, I'm going to hand you the report, you have to fix everything. That's not how it works. The contract's very specific on what's covered and what's not. Grandfathered items are not covered. Matters of preference are not covered. Cosmetic items are not covered. Okay. But your agent should be there to balance it out and help you interpret. Like, don't go off the deep end, because every home inspection looks bad. We had a client last week buy a brand new home, and there's stuff wrong on the home inspection. It happens. There's nothing perfect in this world. Okay. There's going to be deficiencies on the home inspection. That's what you pay them to do, is get a report card of that. And you want someone that's going to give you the honest, truest report card of that. And then you want to rely on your real estate agent to help you interpret which of those things are covered by the contract, which are not, which ones you should address with the contract, which ones you need to address post-closing.
You've helped me in the past. The home that we bought for my son, for Noah, which he's renting right now until he decides if he wants to pay. You were like, that home was built in 1963, what it was, 79, yep. whatever year it was built, 70 something. And you were like, if I'm not mistaken, you said, yeah, that was back when they had Orangeburg pipe.
Yep.
You need to snake a camera down there and check it out. And by golly, we did, and it was bad. So we called, you hooked me up with a septic company, came out and redid the whole thing. But I wouldn't have known to do that had it not been for you and your advice. So you offer that advice to people.
We try to do a very good job of advising people, because it typically is the largest, at least at that point in life, it's the largest investment they've ever made. And they might buy another home in 5, 7, 10 years. That's more expensive. But at that point in life, it's usually the largest investment they make. And it's our job to guide you through that process and get the paperwork right.
You have a lot of retention, don't you? I mean, I'm one, a repeat buyer. So, Hannah and I, my wife and I, we bought through you, we sold through you, bought another one through you. So, I mean, you have repeat business a lot, don't you?
Well, it's yes, but it's service that gets you the business. It's taking care of the consumer that gets you the business. And it's, so on the sales side of things, Zig Ziglar used to be a famous sales trainer.
Yep.
And
he is in radio too, by the way.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, that's who they use.
So, I mean, it's everything he said, just about everything he said is true. And it's that people people don't care how much you know to how much you care. And I teach my agents that if you take care of the client will take care of you. If you focus on helping the client, then your needs will get served, which agents get paid commission. And what's the easiest way to make a commission is to help a client, truly help a client, to truly guide them through the process. And if you do that, the way the world works, if you give, you get. If you're out trying to get, you're not going to get. You have to give first. And so if you give knowledge, if you give advice, if you give counseling, if you help these people acquire the house they want and protect them along the way, then the world compensates you for that.
You're a family man. You're passionate about families. Being the #1 real estate agent for homes sold in Roanoke, Lynchburg, and the NRV, do you still get to talk to the people? Do you still, it's more than just numbers for you, isn't it?
It is. It's funny. I try to get choked up about it sometimes, but it's one of the biggest things in their lives that truly matter. Like, it's their home. It's where their memories are going to be. It's where their kids are going to get the first steps. You walked in their homes, on the back of the doors, you got the measurements and everything.
You just get choked up on this show? Rock on. I have never seen him choked up. In the however many years I have been your friend, I have never seen you get choked up.
But it's true. I say selling. Let me back up. We don't sell anything. We sell ourselves. Like, we sell ourselves, okay? And then we facilitate everything else, okay? So I tell an agent, like, if you sell someone a home, if you work for me and you sell somebody a home, I'm going to fire you. You open the doors, and I don't mean physical open doors. You open the doors of communication. You open the doors, you facilitate, you help them find the home. You negotiate, you represent, you counsel, you guide. We sell ourselves. We sell service. The home is the product that the consumer buys, but we don't convince somebody to buy a house.
So you don't sell them a home. You let them buy a house.
Correct.
Yeah, I got you.
If we sell, if one of my agents sell, I don't need you, because that person's going to always know they were hard sold. Do you want to make a payment a couple $1,000s a month on something you didn't really want?
Yeah.
That somebody told you want, that somebody convinced you want? Part of selling would be if you want a house in Roanoke with a fenced backyard, and I show you 8 houses and it doesn't have a fenced backyard, but you have 10 things on your list and 9 of them are checked. The only one that's not checked is the fenced backyard. Then part of me helping you overcome objections would be, okay, it checks 9 of your boxes, it doesn't check the 10th. How much is a fence going to cost? What if we could negotiate the seller putting in a fence? You know, and that's not selling. That's helping you get what you want.
Yeah.
You know, because unfortunately, if you have 10 things on your list in this market, if you get 7, you did pretty good.
Yeah.
You know,
you're not going to find more passion than that right there with Damon Gettier. If you want to list your home with Damon, go to listwithdamon.com. Damon will make you a cash offer even on your home. If you're interested in that, go to listwithdamon.com.